Before you scroll away, before you tell yourself this message is for someone else, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what I am about to say may answer the question that has been living quietly inside your heart for longer than you realize. Stay with me until the end. Do not leave too soon, because the very thing you have been praying for may not be as far away as you think. I see the weariness you hide from everyone else. I see the smile you wear during the day while carrying burdens nobody knows about. I see the nights when sleep would not come, the moments when you stared at the ceiling and wondered why life feels so heavy, the prayers you whispered when nobody was listening, the tears you wiped away before anyone could see them. I saw every one of them, and I want you to hear this clearly. I have not forgotten you. Not for a single second. You may feel overlooked. You may feel stuck. You may feel like everyone else is moving forward while your life remains in the same place. But what you call delay, I call preparation. What you call silence, I call construction. What you call waiting, I call becoming. There are things I can build in you during a season of waiting that cannot be built any other way. The world celebrates speed. I celebrate transformation. The world wants immediate answers. I desire lasting strength. And strength is not formed in comfort. It is formed when you keep trusting me even when you cannot see what I am doing. That is exactly where many of you are right now. You have been asking, Jesus, where are you? Why is nothing changing? Why does it seem like my prayers are hitting a wall? But let me reveal something hidden. The absence of visible movement does not mean the absence of my activity. Just because you cannot see my hands does not mean I am not working. A seed beneath the soil appears inactive. Yet beneath the surface, life is exploding. Roots are growing. Foundations are forming. Preparation is taking place. And the day eventually comes when what was hidden breaks through the ground for everyone to see. That is where you are. Something has been happening beneath the surface. Something you cannot fully see yet. Something heaven has been preparing. Do not mistake hidden progress for no progress. They are not the same. In fact, some of the greatest miracles begin in complete silence. I know there were moments when you almost gave up. Moments when disappoint me. NT became familiar. Moments when you wondered if it was foolish to keep believing. But look at you. You are still here. You are still listening. You are still searching for me. You are still hoping. That is not weakness. That is evidence that my spirit has been carrying you all along. The enemy wanted your faith to die. But it didn't. The enemy wanted your hope to disappear. But it didn't. The enemy wanted you to quit before your breakthrough arrived. But you are still standing. And that matters more than you know. Listen carefully. A powerful shift happens when a person continues trusting me after disappointment. Not before. After. Because faith that survives the storm becomes unshakable. And I have been building that kind of faith inside you. You thought you were falling apart. But I was strengthening your foundation. You thought you were losing ground. But I was teaching you how to stand. You thought I was delaying your blessing. But I was preparing you to carry it. Because some blessings arrive too heavy for an unprepared heart. Some doors require maturity before they can be opened safely. Some assignments require strength before they can be entrusted. That is why I never rush my timing. My timing protects what my love provides. I know you have compared your journey to others. You have watched people succeed. You have watched doors open for them. You have watched opportunities arrive seemingly without effort. And quietly you asked, "Lord, why not me?" My beloved, the answer is simpler than you think. Because I am writing a different story. Two people can leave at the same time and arrive at different destinations. The destination determines the preparation. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared for something that requires a deeper foundation. One day you will look back and understand why certain doors remained closed. One day you will thank me for the opportunities that never worked out. One day you will see that what felt like rejection was actually protection. But today, I am asking you to trust me before you understand. That is what faith is. Faith is believing my heart when you cannot trace my hand. Faith is choosing hope when circumstances argue otherwise. Faith is standing on my promises while everything around you appears uncertain. And I see you doing exactly that. Even when your voice trembles. Even when your confidence feels weak. Even when your emotions tell you to stop believing. You keep reaching for me. And heaven sees it. Every prayer. Every act of obedience. Every tear. Every moment you chose faith over fear. Nothing has been wasted. Not one second. Not one struggle. Not one disappointment. I am using all of it. Even now. Especially now. Because something is beginning to shift. You may not see it yet. But your season is changing. The waiting has not been meaningless. The waiting has been building capacity. The waiting has been teaching trust. The waiting has been creating strength. And soon, what was hidden will begin to emerge. Stay close to me. Do not let fear convince you that the story is over. It is not over. Do not let doubt speak louder than my promises. It does not know your future. I do. And I tell you this. The chapter you are entering will not look like the chapter you survived. The tears of yesterday will not define tomorrow. The silence is ending. The preparation is nearing completion. Something is moving. Something is unfolding. Something heaven has been arranging behind the scenes is beginning to come into view. So hold on a little longer. Trust me a little deeper. Believe a little stronger. Because what I promised has not expired. What I spoke over your life still stands. And what I began in you, I will finish. Right now, if this message is speaking directly to your heart, type, "Jesus is with me." And if you believe that my timing is perfect even when you cannot understand it, comment, "Amen." Do not leave yet. Because what I am about to reveal next may completely change the way you see every delay, every closed door, and every unanswered prayer you have ever experienced. I am not finished speaking. And this message is for you. Listen carefully. Because what I am about to reveal may heal a wound you've been carrying for years. There are moments in your life that still confuse you. Moments you replay in your mind. Prayers that seemed unanswered. Opportunities that disappeared. Relationships that ended. Dreams that collapsed. Doors that refused to open no matter how hard you pushed. And somewhere deep inside, a painful question began to grow. Why, Lord? Why did you let it happen? Why didn't you stop it? Why wasn't I chosen? My beloved, today I want to answer that question. Not with condemnation. Not with disappointment. But with truth. The doors that remained closed were not evidence that I abandoned you. They were evidence that I protected you. I know that is difficult to understand, especially when your heart was attached to what stood behind those doors, especially when you prayed sincerely, especially when you believed that opportunity was the answer you had been waiting for. But I see what you cannot see. I know what lies beyond every path. I know every conversation before it happens, every consequence before it unfolds, every hidden motive, every unseen danger, every trap disguised as a blessing. And because I love you, there have been times when I said no to things you desperately wanted. Not because I desired your disappointment, but because I desired your future. You often judge a door by how attractive it appears. I judge it by where it leads. There is a difference. Many of the things you cried over losing would have eventually become burdens you would have begged me to remove. Many of the people you chased would have broken parts of you that I was trying to heal. Many of the opportunities you considered breakthroughs would have distracted you from your true purpose. But you could not see that then. You only saw the closed door. You only felt the pain. You only experienced the silence. So you assumed rejection. But heaven was calling it protection. Think about how many times I rescued you without your awareness. How many dangers never reached you. How many disasters never unfolded. How many wrong turns were interrupted before they could alter your destiny. You celebrate the blessings you can see. But there are countless blessings hidden inside the things I prevented. One day in eternity, you will discover how many battles were fought for you that never became visible. How many attacks were stopped before they reached your life. How many plans of darkness were broken before they could manifest. And you will realize something astonishing. You were protected far more often than you were aware. Even now. Especially now. The enemy wants you to believe that every closed door is proof that nothing good is coming. But that is not truth. The enemy only shows you what was lost. I show you what was preserved. He points to what disappeared. I point to what remained. He reminds you of disappointment. I remind you of destiny. And destiny is still alive. Your future is still intact. My plan has not been interrupted. Do not confuse a closed door with a closed future. They are not the same. The future I prepared for you cannot be destroyed by one disappointment, nor by 10 disappointments, nor by 100. What I have written over your life remains written. What I have spoken remains spoken. What I have ordained remains ordained. That is why I need you to stop mourning some things that I already removed for your good. There are seasons you keep revisiting emotionally. Memories you keep reopening. Losses you keep reliving. And every time you do, you are trying to resurrect something I intentionally allowed to end. My beloved, not every ending is a tragedy. Some endings are mercy. Some endings are rescue. Some endings are the beginning of your freedom. I know the heartbreak felt unbearable. I know the loneliness that followed. I know the confusion that settled over your mind. I was there. I sat with you in those moments. When nobody else understood, I understood. When nobody heard your silent cries, I heard them. When you felt abandoned, I was closer than ever. You were never walking through those valleys alone. I walked every step beside you. And while you were grieving what was leaving your life, I was preparing what was coming next. That is the part many people miss. They focus so intensely on what closed that they never notice what is approaching. But heaven is always working forward. My plans are never trapped in the past. I am always leading my children toward greater purpose, toward deeper healing, toward fuller freedom, toward the destiny prepared for them before they were born. Listen to me. You have spent enough time questioning your worth because someone walked away. Your value was never determined by who stayed. You have spent enough time doubting your future because one opportunity failed. Your calling was never attached to a single opportunity. You have spent enough time believing that a closed chapter means the story is over. The story is not over. The story is still being written, and the author has not left the page. I know there are scars. I know there are memories. I know there are moments that still make your heart ache. But healing is already beginning, even now as you hear my voice. Because truth has power. And the truth is this: you are not rejected. You are chosen. You are not abandoned. You are guided. You are not forgotten. You are deeply known. You are not wandering. You are being led. Let those words settle into your spirit. Breathe them in. Allow them to. Replace the lies you have carried for too long. The enemy works through distortion. He takes temporary pain and labels it permanent failure. He takes a closed door and calls it the end. He takes a delay and calls it defeat. But my perspective is different. I see the complete picture. I see where you are today. I see where you will be tomorrow. I see the person you are becoming. And I tell you this: you are closer than you think. Closer to healing. Closer to restoration. Closer to breakthrough. Closer to understanding. Closer to the fulfillment of promises that once seemed impossible. Something is changing. Not because circumstances suddenly became perfect, but because you are beginning to see through heaven's eyes. And when your perspective changes, your strength returns. Hope returns. Peace returns. Expectation returns. This is why I brought you here today. Not merely to comfort you, but to awaken you. To remind you that your story did not end when that door closed. In many ways, it began. Because some doors close behind you so that you finally move toward the door that was meant for you all along. That is what I have been doing. Leading. Protecting. Positioning. Preparing. And now another truth must be revealed. There were delays that frustrated you because you thought I was withholding something good. But what if those delays were actually evidence that heaven was arranging something greater? What if the waiting was not punishment, but preparation? Stay with me, because in the next part, I'm going to reveal the hidden purpose behind every delay, every season of waiting, and why your breakthrough may be much closer than you imagine. If you believe Jesus is guiding your steps even when you cannot see the path, type, "Jesus is with me." And if you trust that every closed door served a purpose, comment, "Amen." Do not leave now. The next revelation may change the way you see your entire journey. Now listen carefully, because this is the part many people never understand. This is where frustration often turns into doubt. This is where hope is tested. This is where many decide to stop believing. You have asked me countless times, "Jesus, why is it taking so long? Why does it seem like everyone else is moving forward? Why am I still waiting?" I have heard every one of those questions. And today I want to answer them. Not with a simple explanation, but with a truth that can transform the way you see your entire journey, The waiting season lasted longer because I was doing more than preparing your blessing. I was preparing you. There is a difference. Many people want the promise. Few are willing to become the person capable of carrying it. Yet because I love you, I refuse to give you something that could crush you simply because you received it too early. You see delay. I see development. You see months. I see maturity. You see waiting. I see preparation. Think about a tree for a moment. The taller it is meant to grow, the deeper its roots must become. No one celebrates the roots. No one takes photographs of them. No one applauds their growth. They remain hidden, invisible, unnoticed. Yet without them, the tree cannot survive the storms that are coming. And that is exactly what I have been doing inside you. Building roots. Deep roots. Roots of faith. Roots of endurance. Roots of trust. Roots that will keep you standing when others fall. Because what I am bringing into your life is not meant to be temporary. It is meant to last. That requires preparation. I know there were days when you felt forgotten. Days when your prayers seemed to echo back in silence. Days when you wondered if I was listening at all. But I was listening. I heard every word. I collected every tear. I watched every moment. Not one prayer was lost. Not one cry went unheard. In fact, some of your most powerful prayers were prayed during your weakest moments. The prayers whispered through tears. The prayers spoken through exhaustion. The prayers that came from a broken heart. Those prayers moved heaven. You may have felt weak, but heaven saw courage. You may have felt defeated, but heaven saw faith. You may have felt abandoned, but heaven saw a child refusing to let go. And that mattered more than you realize. Because faith that survives hardship becomes something precious, something powerful, something unshakable. The enemy wanted your waiting season to destroy your confidence. Instead, it became the place where your faith was refined. Just as gold passes through fire, your spirit has been passing through preparation. Not punishment. Preparation. Never confuse those two things. I do not waste pain. I redeem it. I transform it. I use it to create strength where weakness once lived. That is why some of your hardest seasons produced your deepest growth. The very things you wished would disappear became the tools I used to shape you. The loneliness taught you to seek my presence. The disappointment taught you to depend on my promises. The uncertainty taught you to trust my guidance. The waiting taught you patience. And patience has been producing something beautiful inside you. Something eternal. Something that cannot be taken away. Now let me reveal a hidden truth. Many of the things you have been asking me for are already moving toward you. You simply cannot see them yet. There are answers being arranged, connections being prepared, doors being positioned, circumstances being aligned, people being moved, opportunities being developed. What appears inactive on earth is often active in heaven. The greatest mistake you can make during a waiting season is assuming that nothing is happening. Because something is always happening. Always. Even when the evidence is invisible. Think about Joseph. Before the palace came the prison. Before the promotion came the process. Before the dream was fulfilled came years of waiting. Yet every painful season was preparing him for the moment he would eventually step into. Had the blessing arrived sooner, the preparation would have been incomplete. The same is true for you. There are things I am teaching you now that will make sense later. Lessons that seem small today will become essential tomorrow. One day you will stand in a place of fulfillment and realize that the waiting was not wasted. You will understand why the process took time. You will see how every detail mattered. You will recognize my fingerprints on every chapter, even the difficult ones, especially the difficult ones, because those chapters built the strength you needed. My beloved, there are things ahead of you that require a stronger version of yourself, a wiser version, a more surrendered version, a more trusting version, and that is who you are becoming. Little by little, day by day, prayer by prayer. I know you sometimes feel tired. I know you sometimes wonder how much longer. I know there are moments when discouragement tries to settle over your heart. That is why I am speaking to you now, to remind you that your waiting season has an expiration date. It is not permanent. The preparation will not last forever. The hidden season will not last forever. The silence will not last forever. There comes a moment when what has been developing beneath the surface begins to emerge. There comes a moment when He then says, "Now." And when that moment arrives, everything can change far faster than you imagined. Years of preparation can lead to one moment of acceleration. Years of hidden growth can lead to one season of visible breakthrough. Years of waiting can lead to one divine appointment that changes everything. Never underestimate what I can accomplish in a single moment. I am the God who opens doors no person can close. I am the God who restores what seemed lost. I am the God who makes a way where there appears to be none. And I am still writing your story. The chapter you are in now is not called the end. It is called preparation. It is called becoming. It is called getting ready. Something greater is ahead. Something you have prayed for. Something you have hoped for. Something heaven has been preparing alongside you. Do not stop now. Do not give up now. Do not surrender to discouragement now. You are too close. Closer than you realize. Closer than you feel. Closer than the enemy wants you to know. Because there is another truth you must understand. The enemy has been fighting you so fiercely because he senses what is coming. He cannot stop my plan, but he will try to convince you to abandon it. And that is exactly what we must talk about next. Because in the next part, I'm going to reveal why the spiritual resistance around your life has increased and what heaven is preparing to do about it. If you still believe that Jesus is working behind the scenes even when you cannot see it, type, "Jesus is with me." And if you trust that your waiting season is preparing you for something greater, comment, "Amen." Stay until the end, because the next revelation may explain battles you've been fighting for years.